Hello guys and welcome to another legendary stream right here on Twitch. Finally, yes, I am back. I've been away for the last 9 days. Well, I'm only back for like 2 streams, unfortunately. But yes, Ethan, you didn't miss anything too crazy. There's definitely something I want to show you right away. Dogmas, congratulations on being first. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ethan, thank you so much for being here as well. I can't believe it. We actually managed to do it in a schedule. Over 1,100 kilometers by bike. And we even had 2 days where we basically just did wellness. So essentially like 180 plus kilometers on average on those days where we actually were on the bike. Pretty tough. I feel my legs. It's been quite some distance. Maybe I can quickly roughly show where we went. But it was a full bike tour. Yeah, I think I can show this. So, quick Google Maps. Basically, I live somewhere here. And we went down down the river. This is the river Rhine, I guess. We went along the coast. We didn't go into Liechtenstein. But basically, we went down here. And this is Switzerland down here. But he uses like 4. Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I bike a lot. I guess my entire family does. So we went down this river. This is like into Switzerland. Maybe I can move the chat. That's not better. Yeah. And this is where it was really, really tough because that's where the up and downs are in terms of elevation. So this was really, really tough. We went through here. And somewhere around here is where the river in... No, it's actually further, yeah. We went here. I don't remember all the places, but basically, let me search for the river in. Show me. Yeah, I mean it's this river. Am I tweaking? There we go, yeah. Yeah, basically, we went along this entire river. Right here. Through Innsbruck. Death traps for... Yeah, I see. We went through Innsbruck. Right here. Along the river. And... then we went... Yeah, we definitely went to Kufstein, through here. Somewhere along these lines. No, it had to be here. Yeah. Like here, along the coast. Not along the coast, but along the border of Germany and Austria. Right here. And this is basically where 2 relatively big rivers meet. That's where we ended. I also found it quite funny. There's a place called Freinberg. I initially wanted to go there, but we ended up just not doing that and continuing. And then we immediately from here, this is already like 700 kilometers. Yeah, Freinberg. I would have really liked to take a picture of like the sign of it saying Freinberg, but it was like another 100 meters elevation that we just didn't want to do. Whatever. Yeah, so Passau is basically the place where this massive river that comes all the way from Vienna. This massive river and our river Inn. So the Danube and the Inn, they meet up here. We went all the way to this tippy top here. And then we went back a little bit along this river. All the way up here. Through this. Down here, down here, down here, down here. Through here. All the way back through Munich. And back home. So that was like 1,100 kilometers in roughly, yeah, like 5-6 days where we actively sat in our bikes. Absolutely crazy. Crazy. I can't believe it. Yeah, not to forget that we got insanely lucky. We actually had a very important part of our bike, or of my bike specifically, break. But basically, one of the most important parts for switching gears on the back part of the bike broke. And that part is very, very dependent on the chassis, or like the bike type itself. So there's like 2,000 plus different versions of that little part. And, well, massive story around that. We basically won a jackpot that we got that wherever we, yeah, got stuck in a relatively small area that a bike shop actually had what we needed. This is insane. So we got really lucky after like day 3 that we were even able to continue, because we had a pretty big issue, but it's fine. Yeah, that was a long bike ride, 1,100 kilometers. That is pretty much, I mean, it's from like Austria all the way to Paris or something. Like it's a big distance. It's a big distance. Oh, it was raining a lot, Dogmaster. Like, I actually, look at this. I actually have like a sunburn. This is where my skin is peeling off a little bit. I kind of missed to put enough sunscreen on. For the rest I did, but the first 2 days were like perfectly sunny. Everything was nice and chill. And then it just started raining all the freaking time, man. And the problem was, it like started raining, then it stopped raining. But then it started raining again like 10 minutes later. So you were never able to like confidently put all your rain clothes off. And the main thing is, what protects you from the rain ends up catching all the freaking wind. So either way, you're just gonna be slower. Even if it wasn't raining in the moment, you're just gonna be slower because it's freaking air resistance is so much higher if you have like jacket and everything on. So stupid. Oh, you mean thunder? Yeah. No, I will not have thunder for the next 5 years again, yeah. Well, not much I can do. Yeah, so that was absolutely crazy. Yo, what's up, Toto? Happy Wednesday. So yeah, since Ethan is here, I quickly wanted to show the template I've been working on. So obviously, for the last 8 days, I wasn't really able to work on the tracker. I've worked a lot on it yesterday. I'm still working on the rendering, so currently the tracker is incomplete and I can't like let it run. But Ethan, I wanna quickly confirm something. Wait, do I still have it in my debug? Wait, I still have it in my debug. Do I not? I should. That doesn't matter what that means. Yes, I can still run it from here. Perfect. Because then I'll run it through the console. Okay, wait. So here's the thing. I've already set up your template. I'm currently working on the rendering, and it's very, very difficult. And I mean very difficult. Because I'm starting to implement C++ code as C. With a custom header that I had to rewrite and everything. It's very, very specific, and I'm not sure, like, I'm pretty sure this has to be removed again. It's very, very tedious, but I'm working on it. Anyways, you'll see what I mean in a second. Let me open this through the console. Because otherwise I can't open it right now. I've already done too many changes. Oh wait, that doesn't work. I need to put it like this. There we go. And we do advancedly / there we go. I can't type. There we go. So, the most important part is the console now. Or I should first show it here. So I've created, you can see, I've created a, it's very easy to change the version. A 1.21.7, I mean currently the latest is 1.21.8. We'll get to that. I actually want to look at the snapshot today as well. But basically I've created the template file already. So this is what your tracker is gonna include, and you can immediately tell me if you want to have things change. I don't want to make this, like I didn't want to plan today's stream to be a devlog, so we're not going to work on the tracker too much. Maybe at the very end, but I want to get back to some looking at the snapshot first. We're going to look into 1.21.8 with the copper golem and stuff, and we're going to do some craftmine speedrunning. I want to just continue that a little bit because anything AA related just takes too long, and I won't be able to complete it for the next 1.5 weeks. So I'm not going to start anything big. But we want to play some Minecraft, so things will be interesting. So, Ethan, what I've done. Yeah. I only know, like, it's gonna get late for you, so I'd rather have it at the beginning, right? So, this is your Miko % tracker. Again, this is very, very easy to adapt and adjust because that is how the tracker works. But let me run it down. I maybe also have it in the text document. We open this. Yup. So it's probably easier to show here. I've done some brainstorming on your track. Like last Saturday, the last Saturday that I streamed, I completely did a full devlog. Like I did stuff for the tracker for like 9 hours or 8 hours. So first of all, yeah, talking about advancements. Which advancements are gonna be in Miko %? I mean, you put in so much effort to like perfectly align everything and make things clear. I did look into your streams for like specific resources. You'll see that in a second. So I've included the advancements. Obviously, we can still change the order and stuff. But I've included the advancements. Acquire hardware. Let me maybe like do this, because then you'll see the translation. So story smelt iron right here is the entry right here. Can I move my face cam out of the way? I need to be careful now because now I need to be really careful because my hotkeys are like doing stuff. Can I? Why does my face cam? Oh wait, because I'm not in the scene. Let me switch to that. There we go, perfect. So yeah. But I wanted to make sure that the tracker does display some stuff, so I've added some more advancements than what you requested, because otherwise the tracker would be relatively empty, and like the advancements would start repeating really, really quickly. So we have the acquire hardware advancement. We have we need to go deeper. So I thought, like, what would be a progression for a run, right? So we have acquire hardware, then we need to go deeper. So these are specifically displayed as advancements, right? So currently the tracker is running. This is still the console output, but you can see there's 19 advancements in total, right? Acquire hardware, we need to go deeper. Those were the days for entering a bastion, and war pigs for opening a chest in a bastion. Obviously you need that. Then you need to enter a fortress, kill blazes. I'm assuming you kill other mobs as well, but kill blazes, or just monster hunter advancement. So these are all the advancements. Into fire, I spy, the end, remote getaway, find the end city. Here I shortened it a little bit because the city at the end of the game, like, that name is so long. So obviously that's what this language file is here for. It shortens these. Sky's the limit for the elytra. Diamonds for getting diamonds. you requested that. Even though here you need to be careful. Technically, if you... Yeah, don't worry. Technically, if you pull all the diamond armor out of it like a treasure bastion, you wouldn't ever get the diamonds. Wait, no, I'm lying. Because you need diamonds to apply to a trim. Never mind, I'm lying. No, regardless, you need diamonds anyways. Because diamonds are part of what you put on the trim. No, you're good. Then cover me in diamonds. Then obviously getting debris. Here. Now this is what I want to say. Hidden in the depth. That one specifically. Wait, on this one I can zoom in, yeah. Sorry, I can actually make it bigger. Hidden in the depth. Here, if you technically pull all four netherite ingots out of the bastion, you wouldn't get this advancement. You did specifically request it, so currently it's in here. But honestly, you just delete one section. It would just be like you delete this part and then delete the language for it, boom, and then the tracker is adapted. So technically that would be a debris skip, but that you pull 4 ingots out of bastions, like, unlikely. So that one is a little critical, because you need to know, only stuff that is in stat categories or stats, you can manually complete as well. I'll get to that, but advancements still have to be tracked. Okay, whatever. Then it's crafting a new look. Yes, exactly. You can manually delete the advancement. You just need to then either restart the tracker or like quickly change the version. In like the settings file, you just, instead of 1.21.8, which is gonna be, you switch it to 1.21.7. Doesn't matter if you don't have a template for that, but like you switch it to 1.21.7, you switch it back. You just have to like refresh something up here in the settings. The tracker will automatically detect that you've changed something here. You can also just like on purpose mess up your saved password, anything. Like you just change something and change it back to correct thing, and then the tracker will reread the template. You just need to like refresh it, either by changing something in here and then changing it back, or restarting the tracker, I guess. Yeah, if you do anything in the template. I don't have any system right now that like actively detects if a template change was made, because you can like refresh it very easily through here. I'll explain though. Anyways, let's get back to the console. So we had crafting a look. Then here it gets interesting. So you might be confused why this is under advancements. But recipes are advancements because they pop up in the top right of the screen as like a toast thing. And therefore recipes, you can track them the same way as advancements. You can see right here, Minecraft, recipes, miscellaneous, Vex armor, smithing, template. This is exactly how like the name of it looks like when you when you get the recipe, this entry will appear and the tracker will know that you've picked up a Vex trim. That is unfortunately I can't. I've really tried. Unfortunately, I can't specifically track which armor trims you have applied outside of the ones that are part of smithing with style. So obviously you're lucky because Vex and Snout are both part of the smithing with style advancement. But if you were to use any trim that isn't part of the smithing with style, the game has no way of tracking which trim you've applied unless you may make a specific advancement for it. That's a bit unfortunate otherwise, but you're good. Yeah, so luckily, all your trims are part of the advancement, which makes the entire tracker even more useful. Yeah, then it's the same thing for the upgrade trim. It just checks for the netherite upgrade smithing template recipe right here. And the same thing for the snout trim. I thought it made sense in terms of the order. You first get the Vex, then you go into the Nether. You most likely get the upgrade trim first, and then the snout trim. But this is just the order of how it displays. So yeah, recipes can also be tracked the same way as advancements are, because there are advancements. They are part of the advancements file, so they need to be part of here. Again, the advancements are tracked separately in terms of progress, and everything that is like smaller, which is the stuff down here now, will be part of the percentage progress down here. My voice gave up mid-sentence? Yeah, that will happen a bit. Stay out, guys. So, you can see I made a stat category. This is basically a way of, like, you can combine multiple stats into one, like an advancement with certain sub-criteria, like killing mobs for monsters hunted or something. And I decided to do craft 2 more snout trims and craft 3 more upgrade trims. Because usually I thought, like, if you have a snout trim, you're probably not gonna loot any more bastions unless it's like a treasure bastion for debris or something. It doesn't, so these don't really matter, and don't be confused why it says 4 and 6, because you duplicate the trims. So crafting 2 more snout trims actually means you're crafting 4 trims. Obviously I tested this, but this is how it works, because you're duplicating it. Then 3 more upgrade trims is here. So this is tracking the statistics for how many times you've crafted these specific trims. Obviously the Vex trim isn't in here because you only need the Vex trim once. So you don't need to duplicate that. So that is a stat category. And mind that anything here in the stat category or in the regular stat, you can complete manually. Let me show this real quick. Let me go here, debug. Actually, I can open it here. Resources config. So in the settings right here, the settings.json is just in resources config settings, just the regular one. I'll obviously change this to like 1.21.8 or whatever the latest will be once I'm fully ready with this. But you can see trims crafting, which is like, so you can either, presumably you get more upgrade trims and you don't need to craft as many. I always want to make sure that the tracker can be completed 100%. So no, wait a second. Wait, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Basically, if you were to get, let's say, 2 snout trims out of bastions because you're like going for more debris, you wouldn't need to craft 2 more. So you can manually set this to true. So for anything that is related to stats, you can manually set to true as well. Because things can go differently. You might actually get 2 snout trims or 3 upgrade trims for that matter. So let me get to this side. You can just set, for example, the entire thing to true. If I set this to true, this is gonna update, and now you can see it says completed manual. And now I've manually completed, even though I have not done anything here, I've just manually completed the trims. If you don't need to do the full thing, you can manually check it off. That is very important, that you can get this progress to 100%, and you don't need to like unnecessarily craft more snout trims than you need or whatever. So this is very important. You can either set the entire category to true, or you can see the dot criteria. You can set them individually to true, which I can show right here. If I set this to false, and I set, let's say, the snout to true. I hope this is not too complicated, because I won't be implementing anything with the settings yet before you get your tracker. So if you have questions with this, it's very, very easy. I have everything prepared. You can anything that is set to true, you can just set to false and whatever, and it will affect what you're doing here. So yeah, you can see this is done manually, and it's the snout trim. So you can check those off manually if you don't need to actually craft the full thing. Yeah, right. And obviously, if I set the entire thing to true, it's gonna. So obviously, setting the overall stat category to true will overwrite these. So changing this to true now obviously doesn't have an effect. But yeah, this completes that. This completes that. Perfect. Now we get to get 27 diamonds and mine 16 debris. How did I do that? I thought that was an interesting thing to do. So you can see we either have a stat category, because I thought like combining the two trims makes sense. So a stat category is one bag where you can have multiple statistics in there. You can see the target values. You can change this very easily. You just go into this file. I'll show you more. But you can just change these target values. For example, here it says 4. Here it says 6. You always need to calculate 2 for each time you want to craft the trim. But you can change anything that is numbers. You can easily change. It's still very user-friendly, even if you have to work within the text file. But basically, the next thing is, I thought, how would I do this with, the diamonds and the ancient debris? You mentioned stuff with that as well, and so 27 diamonds should be what you need, with like all the diamonds you applied to the trim and like the armor itself. So this tracks the Minecraft picked up statistic. So this tracks the statistic for how many times you've picked up a diamond. Right. Obviously, most likely, you will not mine all the diamonds and thus not pick them all up. I mean, yes, you can always drop some diamonds and re-pick them up to like force the stat to be completed. But again, you can go into the settings file, just set the stat category, get 27 diamonds. I've done all the work here. You can set this to true. Make sure to save the file. And let's go back to the console. And obviously you can see now, even though I didn't mine a single diamond, it's still completed. So again, anything within the stats, you can overwrite manually. This is the stat progress override. You just set to true and false, whatever is here. This might look a little complicated, but like, it makes sense. This is the stat category with the snout. This is with netherite. This is 27 diamonds, 16 debris. It should be relatively self-explanatory. And obviously you can do the same thing for the debris. And most importantly, the progress down here is going to adjust accordingly. But now, you might be wondering, why the hell are we only at 21%? When, the advancements here, they are tracked differently. They are part of this progress metric. The advancements, 3 out of 19. And everything in the overall progress are all the smaller things. So like, this is counted towards the overall progress. This is counted towards the overall progress. This and this. So these 4 are all like 5%, which roughly gets us to like 21. And now the most interesting thing that I think is kind of neat, and that's where you should probably tell me if you're fine with it. It is these multi-stage goals that I've implemented. Now, like, everything is finally coming together. Basically, this is a goal similar to how we have, get a trident, get thunder advancements, being done. Like, one goal that has multi-stages, that when one gets completed, it shows the next one, right? And this multi-stage goal actually has 15 stages, and I thought that would kind of be the order in how you complete it. It doesn't really need to be in that order. It will always just display the next incomplete step. But you can see, so it's going to be displayed as one advancement, static, because it's a goal. So it's going to be in the third row, and it's going to basically show the progress of your run. So it's gonna first require you to enter the nether. I'm gonna show this here again. This is the multi-stage goal. And you can see it first. This is the name. I thought netherite chestplate would be fitting as like an image. You can also change all the icon stuff, like what you want the advancements, what the icon should be for the advancements. You can change that. For the multi-stage goals, I think it makes more sense. All the stages display the same item, because otherwise it gets confusing if you have multiple multi-stage goals, whatever. Yeah, I think netherite chestplate is pretty cool, and unfortunately, I can't. I don't have the image for like a netherite chestplate with a trim applied, because that is something the game renders internally. It's a bit weird. I also didn't find anything on the wiki immediately. So if you want that, you'd have to do that yourself. But it should be very easy. You just import a PNG, link it, and yeah, you're good to go. Whatever. So I think a regular netherite chestplate is fine. Now. The first thing it tracks is going into the nether, finding the bastion, finding the fortress, entering the stronghold, entering the end, going through a gateway, then finding an end city, finding an elytra. After that, I decided tracking for specific advancements doesn't make sense, because these you're guaranteed to get, most likely in that order, otherwise things would be weird. So you're gonna like kind of have a little bit of a checklist, and also the viewers do, in terms of where you are, which is really nice. And then after you get the elytra, the next thing is getting the vex trim, then getting the upgrade trim, then getting the snout trim. And here, again, it's similar to above, but it's just all combined in one thing. So it uses a lot of what I've done separately as the advancements already, but in one multi-stage goal, which I think makes a lot of sense. So it tracks the recipe for the vex armor trim, the netherite upgrade, and the snout. And now it gets interesting. It then tracks placing down a smithing table, because using a smithing table, in the statistics, using a block is placing that block. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, but whatever. And therefore, using smithing table is, well, placing it down. This is just how it's named in the stats, right? Then on the 13th stage, it's all gonna be like one thing you complete, the next thing unlocks. I've implemented the feature. This is one of the last things I actually did, that you can track criterion. So this is something that we didn't do above, because above you can't really do single criteria. Well, you can, but it's not gonna look as cool. Basically, part of the multi-stage goals can also be advancement criterion. So basically, subparts of an advancement. And here, I've basically, and this is where you got lucky, right? Because trims with all exclusive armor patterns, that is the advancement for smithing with style. Trims with all exclusive armor patterns. So, in this case, the stage only completes when you have applied a vex armor trim. But this is only one, right? There's no target value like on the others. But okay, here I guess the target value also needs to always be 1, because you can only complete an advancement 1. So I guess these ones here, changing those doesn't make too much sense. Even though I think they would be ignored. I'd have to test that, whatever. And the same thing with the snout. Obviously, I know the snout gets applied multiple times, but I can only track the first time you apply it, because then the game is gonna tell the smithing with style advancement that the snout armor trim, one of its subparts, is completed. Obviously, you're still far from getting the smithing with style because you're missing the other trims, but I can still check which subparts of smithing with style you have, which is very handy to know which trims you've applied. So that's going to be the next stage. And then the last stage is Minecraft Custom, Minecraft Interact with Smithing Table. So Minecraft does have a statistic for how many times you interacted with a smithing table. Unfortunately, this is so stupid. Unfortunately, interact doesn't mean how many times you've actually used the smithing table to apply something. But interact only means how many times you've right-clicked the smithing table. So how many times you've opened the GUI, the interface of the smithing table. So I've set the target to 4 because technically you apply 4 trims. But yeah, this stage basically you complete it by right-clicking the smithing table 4 times. You can change the target value, I guess. Wait, does it make sense? I'm actually thinking, does it make sense? Because technically, if you're like prepared, you would only right-click the smithing table once and then apply everything, right? Wait, this is something I need to quickly check. We're nearly done with this section. I've already been yapping for 40 minutes. But Ethan is here. Yeah, I've been testing here. So yeah, then I can quickly show how the multi-stage goals actually fully work. There we go. So I quickly want to check if... Because I know that applying the trims itself doesn't do anything. Yes, yeah, I've tested here. So does the tracker detect this world? Yeah, it does. Because here, statistics, general... Where is it? Smithing table, 13 uses. So 13 uses. And obviously if I just right-click exit, this already counts as 14 uses. So that is the main problem. It just counts how many times you've right-clicked it. Because multi-stage goals, you can't manually complete the individual stages. That's not something you can do. If I just get, I don't know, netherite upgrade template, we take this chest plate, we take the upgrade, and now I right click, so that would put it to 15. This sticks. Yeah, see, it stays on 15, so it does not, it only says times used, and this is so confusing. This is how many times I've placed the smithing table. So that is the main problem, that, yeah, it counts how many times you've interacted with the smithing table in terms of how many times you've opened its GUI. So currently I've set it to 4. Yeah, I guess that's fine. If you right-click individually for every armor piece, could be debatable. But you'd complete this stage if you just right-click GUI 4 times. Then otherwise you just do this, and boom, done. That's what you can spam, I guess. Okay, you can see right here. This is the last thing I'm going to show. I just wanted to show the Mika percent route. So now it says enter the Nether. So if I just do /set block Nether portal, boom, I go through the Nether portal. I get that we need to go deeper advancement, and now it says enter a bastion. You get the point. So I now enter the Nether, and it switched to the next stage. It's only going to display the current stage that you need to do, or the current, the first incomplete stage. So yeah, that's how that works, and it goes through the entire thing. I've already like extensively tested everything here. So your template is the most sophisticated one I have currently. It's also the only one that properly links to any icon PNGs. Like in no other template I've currently done the proper linking with like the actual items, like block names. These are all from the Minecraft wiki. That's why the naming is a little different. Yeah, if you ever want to change any of the icons here, once you get your hand onto the tracker, you just go into resources. It should be very self-explanatory. In resources, you'll find everything. Resources config. That's where the settings file is. That's where this settings file is. Don't worry about the stuff down here. You just want to kind of worry about the manual path mode. You can set this also to auto if you use the regular Minecraft instance, which you most likely don't because you're multi-instancing. Then the version, obviously the correct path to that. Miku percent is the category. You don't need to put anything for the optional flag. You can set how many FPS the tracker should go at. If it should always be on top. So like, if the tracker is on screen, now they click into other windows, the tracker is still going to be on top. Obviously, if you go here and you set the always on top to be false, boom, then the tracker is not going to be always on top anymore. Yes, exactly. I'll explain this in greater detail once I send you an early version. But basically, yeah. You always go into the resources. You can obviously look through the files here. There's nothing you can mess up, really. Resources in config. It's the top one. I've made some other settings files for different versions just to test. Yeah, it's the top one, and that's where you switch things around. And obviously, yeah, here you'd have to set it to false to make it incomplete. Very chill. Anyways, here in icons, should be relatively self-explanatory. You have animals being displayed separately. Blocks, these are all from the Minecraft wiki. You have 1,060 to choose from. You obviously need to take the exact name with the .png. The tracker will support .gif files. It's going to be really hype. So blocks can be animated. Same for cats. And items. Items are currently sorted by every single version. So for items, you just go into the version that you need. I'll make a new folder for 1.21.8 when that's out. But you just search for the version that you need, go in here, and then you just... It's the exact name as it is in Minecraft. I've downloaded this all automatically. So I never like manually created any of this. Very cool. Very, very cool. Then obviously you have the monsters, the nether biomes, those are separate overworld biomes. I also have overworld biomes for 1.7 through 1.11. Those are separate because those icons are sometimes different. Yeah, all the biomes and the wolf textures, whereas the wolf pale is obviously the regular wolf. Yeah, so you have literally anything you could ever want in terms of display options. You just need to link it properly within the icon path. So you can see, like, for anything that is an item, it's items slash whatever the version is, and then literally whatever it is in game.png. And for blocks, this is where you'd have to go into the folder and check exactly which block textures I have, because I downloaded them from the wiki. The wiki has like different versions, and the latest one is the Java Edition 2 Bedrock Edition 2 version. So for the blocks, you'd have to specifically check. But you just go into the blocks folder, you search for purpur, and copy the exact name with the .png. It is not too complicated. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you just keep it in this format. You just keep it in this format. Either you put items, blocks, or I guess nether biomes or whatever. Basically, the path starts from within the icons folder. The path starts from within the icon folder. You can also do animals / axolotl.png or blocks / acacia button _ but you need to make sure if you copy the name that you include the .png. You copy this entire thing, blocks / this. Well, webp is webp, but that is fine. There shouldn't be any webps anymore though. I converted them all. All the webps are converted to PNGs. So it's either PNGs or GIF. Yeah, I did that right away. Thank you so much, Dogmaster, again. Yeah, massive shout out to Dogmaster. He downloaded all the block textures because I tried to automate downloading the block textures from the Minecraft wiki, but that didn't go so great. So Dogmaster literally downloaded over 1,000 textures manually from the wiki that are now in that folder. So yeah, massive shout out to Dogmaster. Alright, that is the explanation. Let me know if you want anything changed, especially like in terms of ordering and stuff. You can obviously go back to the stream and stuff to let me know. I'm surprised it only took 2 hours. Like, that's actually insane. That is actually insane. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show. I'm currently working on rendering stuff, so things are very, very incomplete and bound to fail, so I'm rather... So yeah, I can only show it like this. But yeah, the settings window itself doesn't have anything yet. But yeah, and the tracker fully works for Linux and Mac OS currently, which is super high. Good. Alright, we'll now get into some Zero practice, as well as some Warden Skip practice. Then I want to look at the snapshot real quick. The 121.8 snapshot. No, okay, I lied. I didn't specifically test on Mac. You can still do that, but because the code for Mac and Linux is, like, basically the same, yeah, no, I lied, but I assume it works, because, like, it's pretty similar. In terms of the changes to Windows. Yeah, whatever. No, I haven't specifically tested Mac, but Linux has been tested. Shout out to Whaler. Linux has been tested. That I yet can confirm. So guys, I'll quickly go to the bathroom, then we'll do some Warden Skip and Zero practice, just to get into things. And then I want to look at the snapshot, and then I want to do some Craftmind stuff. I think that'll be cool. Again, I haven't planned on doing like anything longer today, because it's gonna be a while until I can come back and continue. So guys, I'll quickly go to the bathroom. Hope that was cool, Ethan. Hope that's kind of the direction you wanted this to go. Again, I'll be working on displaying. Yeah, I'll hopefully have more to show by like Friday. I hope, because again, I'm building the tracker to be fully functional for any amount of advancements, for any amount of goals, for any... You're not restricted in terms of the amount, and you shouldn't ever be restricted in terms of the amount of stuff that you want to display, which is why I'm trying to build like an interactive map where you can like click and hold down your mouse, you can move around, you can zoom in and out, and you'll have an interactive map of all the advancements and all the stuff that's going to be displayed. And like the map is going to like clean up itself. With everything you complete, it's going to kind of squish more together, and you'll end up with a very clean looking tracker where the map gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's the plan, but for that I had to look into a lot of other code, and one part of which wasn't initially supporting the version I'm using, but I think we're getting it done. So yeah, guys, I'll quickly go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Yeah, that will be a lot of work, but once I have something displaying on the tracker, and once I have sort of the animations on the stream overlay, that's when you're gonna get the first like beta version, Ethan. So like as soon as I have some decently looking display, that's when the tracker will be ready. So yeah, unfortunately I'll be gone again for like another week, starting by Saturday, which is gonna delay some stuff, and then I'll go to London a couple days after that as well. So I'm so sorry to drag this out like crazy, but I'm really using all the time that I'm here to work on it. So yeah, you'll get it as soon as possible. And as I said, the main like template and what the tracker is actually gonna display for your category, I've already done. So there's minimal work you have to do. That's very important. Because the template builder and all that stuff is not really implemented yet, so you still have to do the text file stuff somewhat manually. But yeah, all you have to worry about is the settings.json file in the config. Yeah. I really appreciate that, Ethan, and I find it exciting that you kind of requested something that has to do with my tracker. It really, really motivates me even more knowing people care for this, so that's kind of cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alright, let's get into things. Also want to mention that, shout out to my amazing mom, she did have the cheat inventory challenge run quite a lot while I was away. So yeah, we're also making good progress there. We're like 6.4, 6.5 million towards the last corner. So obviously that's still going to take a while, but it should be possible for me to finish it before uni starts. The cheat inventory challenge hasn't like crashed since. Don't want to like jinx it now, but it's constantly using like 38 to 40 gigs of RAM, so I really don't know how I can get that back down. I think the only way to get it back down is like updating the game version and then like removing all the data pack stuff. Oh, it's so sick. Thank you so much, Ethan. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad. It will be very exciting. And like the cool thing is, if you're ever like not sure how you want to have things displayed on the tracker, it is very easy. It's usually like a copy and paste thing to kind of expand what advancements you want to track. Like once you kind of understand it, it's very easy. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too crazy on this. I need to just refresh my mechanics a little bit. This is my only Minecraft session before I will be gone again. So I just want to refresh some things. I really should start with a few more 1 cycles. I still haven't done like the offset, nor have I done any caged or whatever. We'll just see where we end up.